Welcome back to episode 6. Jimin sobbed. Jimin, you knew how your parents were then. Why did you ever pursue me? You knew they would never accept someone like me, so why did you ever bother dating me? Both of us would have been happier if we had never started this. JK, you made me the happiest, Jimin. It was fleeting moments of happiness. Had I no, I would suffer such pain for those moments of love. I would have never fallen in love. Jimin sighed in defeat. JK, please, Jimin, don't leave me. I can't live without you. Jimin, you can and you will. Soon enough, I will be your just part of your past. Jungkook started crying. JK, no, please, I'm begging you, Jimin, stay with me, please. I will make you very happy. I will do whatever you want, Jimin. I'm sorry, Jungkook, but I can't do this anymore. JK, why? Don't you love me anymore? Jimin, I do. I still do, but it's fading away. I can't be in a relationship like this. It will drive me crazy. As soon as you will get out of my sight, I will wonder, what are you doing with your husband? Are you guys laughing, having fun, maybe watching a movie? Are you cooking for him like you do for me? Are you taking care of him? Are you falling for him? Are you guys sleeping together? Are you kissing, hugging? I would go crazy for thinking all this, Jimmy said in anguish. Jungkook felt his heart break. The man he loved so much was hurting so bad, and he was the reason for that. JK, I really love you. No matter what, don't ever doubt my love for you, Jimin. Love had never been problem with us. Maybe we met at wrong time. Jungkook kept sobbing while clenching Jimin's hand. Jimin wanted to gather him in his arm and wipe away his tears, but he couldn't. He wanted to hate Jungkook, yet he felt pity for him, for their love. For their love, it wasn't fair, but life never was. Maybe they had been too brave with their love, and now they are suffering for that. Jimin, this isn't of us. With that said, Jimin pulled back his hands, warning sensitive content. Jungkook drove to his house in days. He still couldn't wrap his mind around and that fact that Jimin had broken up with him. No matter how much he cried and begged, Jimin refused to take him back. How could their love fall apart so easily? Was his life so bad that Jimin couldn't forgive him? Jungkook knew he had broken Jimin's trust, but why couldn't Jimin see his love? What other options did he have? It wasn't like he had wanted to get married. Wasn't he just as much victim as Jimin? He had told Jimin about his marriage. He would have left him, and that's what happened anyway. He had to marry a stranger while he lost his love of his life, but he knew he couldn't put the blame on Jimin. The guy had done nothing wrong anyway. Anyone would react in the same way. Being lied like that would be daunting on any relationship. Yet Jungkook had gone ahead with his deception, knowing very well that the day Jimin knew about this, it would be in their love. A fool, he had been in love, no matter how fleeting. He wanted it to last. In this moment, he hated his parents more than he ever had. They had been calculating and manipulating since Jungkook could remember. Every friend he made should have a social status worth something, or everything he did needed to have some value. He couldn't just do things for fun or amusement. Every mistake needed to be punished harshly to instill fear and discipline. When he was young, he thought that's how parents were. It was he when he went to school and made friends, he realized that's not how parents were supposed to be. It was shocking when his classmates talked about their mother feeding them or their father taking them out for ice cream. So simple joy he had been deprived of. All that luxury and wealth. Yet Jungkook yearned for a simple hug. He was 12 years old when the first knew what it felt like to be hugged. His friends had hugged him when they won a game in sports meet, and he realized it was warm. He went home and that day and hugged his mother only to be pushed away like he was something disgusting. Never did Jungkook hug anyone again until he met Jimin. He would always greet Jimin with hug because for him that was one of the most intimate thing for him. No one ever know how much a simple hug meant to him. Maybe he was just like them, cold and manipulative. He had deceived Jimin so easily. Why would anyone want to be with him? Jungkook drowned in self-pity as he made his way home. He went straight to his room and plopped down on the bed. Taehyung was watching TV when Jungkook came home, looking like a lost puppy. They wanted to ask him what was wrong, but stopped himself on fear of being reprimanded. Jungkook hardly talked to him kindly, so why should he care whether he was okay or not? But soon his indifference turned into concern when Jungkook didn't came out of his room the next day. It was already evening and Jungkook hadn't stepped out of his room even once. He didn't eat anything at all since last night and Taehyung was worried about him. They had knocked on the door twice but received no response. By the time it was 10 p.m., Jungkook staggered out of his room completely drunk and bugged. Taehyung was shocked to see Jungkook lose control like this. His hair was disbehaved as bloodshot and puffed from crying continuously. Taehyung strode towards him. Tae, Jungkook, are you okay? JK, yes. Tae, you don't look okay. Sit down and stop drinking. Jungkook took another mouthful from the bottle. JK, why? I'm fine. Tae, I don't think so. You haven't eaten anything. Don't drink on empty stomach. JK, are you worried about me? He slowed. Yes, I am. Please sit down. JK, worried about me? Me? Are you Jimin? Jimin worried about me a lot. You look like him. JK squinted at Taehyung, trying to recognize him. Taehyung asked, Jimin? JK, my boyfriend? No, my ex-boyfriend. Now it was all clear to Taehyung. No, I'm not Jimin, but you should absolutely probably stop drinking. JK, why? It's better when I'm drunk. It hurts a little less. They didn't know what to say to Jungkook. He felt guilty because he was the reason for the breakup, though it wasn't really his fault. Jungkook took a step forward and tripped. Jungkook fell face first, hitting his head on the table. Taehyung took forward and grabbed hold of him, and both of them were strangled on the floor. Jungkook groaned in pain and then looked down to stare at them for a few seconds in silence. He caressed Taehyung's cheeks tenderly, almost like a lover. JK, Jimin, baby, is that you? Jungkook. JK, why did you break my heart? Can't you see I'm in pain? Jungkook. JK, please take me back. I beg you. Don't leave me. I will do anything you say. He started crying pitifully. I'm not. Jungkook hugged him tightly. JK, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I will never lie to you again. I wouldn't ever hide anything from you. Please stay with me. Taehyung tried to push him away, but he wouldn't budge. They snapped out of it. JK, I'm sorry, please, Jimin. Taehyung doesn't mean anything to me. I don't like him at all. He's nothing to me. You are the only one I love. Taehyung could feel hurt and anger mix inside him, so he harshly pushed Jungkook away. I'm not Jimin. I'm not your Jimin. Jungkook crawled towards him. JK, please don't leave. They felt pity and anger for his husband. He had never been in love, so he didn't know how it felt to break up. But it wasn't like Jungkook was blameless. He should have not lied to his boyfriend in first place. Taehyung stood debating what to do when Jungkook grabbed in his arm in desperate attempts to stop him. His mind wasn't in right state. Jungkook, if you will not leave me, then I will kill myself. Jungkook wasn't focused anymore, like he was stuck in some bad memories. Taehyung said in concern. Jungkook, stop this. JK, no, you are leaving. I can't need you. Please. His words weren't clear anymore. They pulled his hand back, and that was the last straw of Jungkook. He let out a cry similar to wounded animal and dashed to kitchen with Taehyung following after him. Jungkook took a knife from the counter and slashed his wrist in rushly, cutting deep. Moved the knife again and slid right before the first one, and this one deeper. Tried to stop the bleeding by wrapping a cloth around it, but it wasn't enough. Jungkook gave silence after hurting himself. He wasn't crying anymore, nor was he uttering any word. It was like the fight had left his body. He let Taehyung drag him to the car and drive him to the hospital. Everything was getting blurred, and soon it all went dark for Jungkook, and for the first time since morning, the pain subsided. Taehyung was fighting so hard to stay in control. The events of last night had been too much for him to handle, and it took tremendous amount of willpower to not regret. He couldn't let that happen. He was currently sitting beside Jungkook's bed in hospital. They had rushed to hospital after Jungkook had tried to take his own life. Thankfully, he hadn't lost much blood and required only stitches. He had gained consciousness after a while and had asked Taehyung not to inform his parents. Right now, Jungkook was sleeping peacefully like he hadn't been a mess just few hours ago. Taehyung wondered if you could love someone to the extent of wanting to kill yourself. Was anyone worth that sacrifice? Was anyone worth that much pain? To him, no one was important enough to destroy himself. All they had ever felt for people around him was disdain, fear, hurt, angry, and hatred. Inevitably, it was since no one had ever shown him love and care, so he couldn't feel those emotions for anyone either. But right now, they felt uneasy and scared. When Jungkook had slashed his wrist, they could feel his heart almost stop it. Watching the blood dripping down Jungkook's wrist was such a horrifying sight for him. His eyes were puffy from crying for hours last night, though he felt nothing for Jungkook, and in all ways that is mattered, they were particularly stranger. Yet the thought of him dying was unfair. For Taehyung, JK stopped throwing. Taehyung was startled. Jungkook, are you awake? Are you okay? Does your hand hurt? Should I call the doctor? JK, no. I'm fine, get me discharged. But Jungkook shouted at him, JK, don't freaking argue with me, go get the doctor. They did as Jungkook said, and the doctor was reluctant to let them go. Jungkook paid him enough to make sure no one would worry about this to reporters. It would be such a headache to deal with, and his parents would create if words got out. They could harm Jimin if they realized why Jungkook had tried to kill himself. Same was permanent emotions swirling inside him. Right now, he was Jian Jungkook, and he had succumbed to his emotions to the extent he had lost all reasons. He couldn't believe he had tried to kill himself, that too in front of Taehyung. It was all embarrassing and upsetting for him. That age made Jungkook lash out at the only person around him, though it wasn't warranted. Jungkook stole a glance at Taehyung sitting beside him in the cab and found him sniffing. He felt guilty for making him cry, but Jungkook could understand why. Everything made Taehyung cry. He cried so easily that they reached home, and as soon as they entered, Taehyung stormed to his room and closed the door, probably going to cry like a baby, Jungkook thought. Jungkook went to shower, making sure bandages didn't get wet, and decided to eat something, so he strolled to the kitchen, but it was a hassle to cook with his injured hand. Taehyung was startled when he heard a loud crashing sound. He ran out of his room in fear, thinking Jungkook is hurting himself again, and saw Jungkook kneeling beside broken glass. He pushed Jungkook aside and swept the broken pieces and threw them in the dustbin. JK, you didn't have to. I could have cleaned it. Taehyung turned to face him, and Jungkook was bewildered to see tears rolling down his cheeks. JK, why are you crying now? Taehyung was tired of holding himself together, so he let it go. He let himself regress since trying to keep it together was turning on his mind. Tete is scared. JK, huh? Again with this Tete thing? Jungkook rolled his eyes. Taehyung poked Jungkook in his eyes. Don't roll your eyes at Tete. Jungkook screamed in pain and glared at his husband, with tears blurring his vision. JK, are you crazy? You call Tete crazy again? Tete will poke your eyes out, he says mechanically. Jungkook was shocked at such sudden change in personality. JK, are you a bipolar? Sad in frustration, JK, you do this on purpose, aren't you? You are trying to drive me crazy. You are crazy. JK, Taehyung, JK, what the heck is your fiction with Tete? Tete wants to call me Tete. Is that wrong? Jungkook asked sarcastically. JK, how old are you? Taehyung stared at him, confused. Don't know. JK, huh? Tete is hungry. Feed me. JK, if you are hungry, then go cook something. No, Jungkook, you cook for me. JK, why the heck would I? Because you love Tete. Jungkook stared at him in vexation. JK, are you crazy or something? Taehyung gasped. Tete is not crazy. Tete is cute. Poked Jungkook in other eyes. Jungkook shrieked in pain. JK, I'm going to kill you, idiot. So this is end of today's episode. Next episode, I'm sure, is going to make you all shock. So wait for the next episode and a surprise for all of you. Hope you will love it. Okay, so see you again. Bye bye.